Imagine the late 1960s, Northern California. A serial killer is on the loose, terrorizing the community with his heinous acts and cryptic messages. His identity remains unknown. His moniker, the Zodiac Killer. This is not a plot of a Hollywood thriller, but a real-life horror story that unfolded during the late 60s and early 70s. Amid the peace and love of the era, Northern California was gripped by fear as a shadowy figure known as the Zodiac Killer committed a series of brutal murders. His identity remains a mystery to this day, making the case one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in American criminal history. The Zodiac Killer didn't just murder, he taunted, sending chilling letters and complex ciphers to the media and law enforcement. These communications were as bewildering as they were terrifying, adding another layer to an already enigmatic case. Today, we delve into the chilling story of the Zodiac Killer, a tale that remains one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. The Reign of Terror began on December 20th, 1968, on a quiet road near Benicia, California. Two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, were found shot dead in their vehicle, marking the ominous start of the Zodiac Killer's spree. A chilling silence followed, until 7 months later, on the 4th of July, 1969, when the Zodiac Killer struck again. This time, the setting was Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, where Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were targeted. Under the cover of darkness, the assailant approached their car and opened fire. Ferrin unfortunately succumbed to her injuries, while Mageau, despite bearing grievous wounds, miraculously survived, living to tell the tale of that fateful night. But the Zodiac Killer wasn't done. On September 27, 1969, the serene surroundings of Lake Berryessa became the backdrop for another round of his brutal attacks. This time, it was a bright afternoon when he approached Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, who were enjoying a picnic by the lake. Disguised in a hooded costume, the Zodiac Killer stabbed both victims repeatedly before leaving them for dead. Hartnell, against all odds, survived the brutal attack, while Shepard, tragically, did not. Each of these attacks was marked by a chilling modus operandi. The Zodiac Killer targeted young couples in secluded areas, showing a brazen disregard for human life. The sense of dread and fear that spread across Northern California during this time was palpable. Families lived in terror, couples avoided quiet, deserted areas, and late-night outings became a thing of the past. But the terror didn't end with these attacks. The Zodiac Killer extended his horrifying reach through letters and ciphers. These cryptic messages, sent to the media and law enforcement, would further perpetuate the fear and fascination surrounding the Zodiac Killer, making him one of the most infamous figures in the history of American crime. But that's a story for another scene. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror. Following the Blue Rock Springs Park attack, a chilling turn of events occurred. Letters started arriving at various newspapers, detailing the crimes and filled with cryptic ciphers. These weren't just any letters, they were taunts from the Zodiac Killer. Each letter was an eerie blend of threats, codes, and confessions. The Zodiac Killer wasn't just content with creating chaos through his gruesome acts. He went a step further, leaving a trail of cryptograms, like breadcrumbs for the investigators. These ciphers, as they're called, were a complex mix of symbols and letters, a jigsaw puzzle that could potentially unmask the killer. Some of these cryptic messages were deciphered by amateur code breakers, revealing chilling messages of the killer's enjoyment of his crimes. Yet other ciphers remain unsolved, a testament to the enigmatic nature of the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer's letters not only terrorized the community but also baffled the investigators. Despite the relentless efforts of law enforcement agencies, the Zodiac Killer managed to elude capture. In the thick of the investigation were numerous departments, including the police forces of Vallejo, Napa, and San Francisco. Even the Federal Bureau of Investigation was drawn into this perplexing case, all striving to unmask the identity of this elusive murderer. These agencies faced a daunting task. The cryptic ciphers, the taunting letters, and the cunning evasion tactics of the killer served as a complex puzzle that, to this day, remains incomplete. Despite numerous suspects and countless hours of investigation, the true identity of the Zodiac Killer remains shrouded in mystery. The case, though cold, is far from closed. It stands as an open challenge to detectives, amateur sleuths, and codebreakers, all drawn to the enigma that is the Zodiac Killer. Today, the Zodiac Killer case remains one of America's most infamous unsolved mysteries, a haunting reminder of a terror that once gripped Northern California.